The Chinese are continuing to buy. And so are other central banks. So what's all this about? Well, the answer is quite simple. And that is, it's not gold going up, it's paper currencies going down. And this is very, very important. It's very important to get this message early, because when the general public finally realizes that it's not the price of eggs or the price of coffee or whatever going up, but actually the purchasing power of their currency going down, then the currency is doomed. I don't think we're going to get there. But these levels on the ratio are just absolutely crazy. And as gold goes up, silver will go up twice as fast to bring that ratio down to something which is, if you like, more sensible. So I think, 2024 was interesting. 2025 is going to get even more interesting.
Now we'll show you the best clips of the latest interview, but first hit the like button, smash the subscribe button, join our WhatsApp channel for real-time updates, breaking news, and expert predictions on gold, silver, and financial markets. Link in the description or pinned comment. Stay ahead of the curve. Don't miss out.
I have one or two friends, not very many, in the LBMA, and I was talking with one of them some time ago. And he admitted that he never ever looks at economic factors. He doesn't understand, sort of money, all that sort of stuff. He just trades the stuff. He was making some pretty good forecasts on the basis of his experience as a trader. But I think this is really what it's about. We're moving from the days when, you could just trade gold, if you're a bullion bank, you're probably running a short book. So what you do is, you trade it, and every now and then the punters, hedge funds get a bit overextended. You can bang it and trigger all the stops and get your position back and all the rest of it. That's not happening now. And I think that's the big difference. And the reason it's not happening is because there are bigger forces at play. I think it's probably surprised a lot of people that despite the price rise, the Chinese are continuing to buy. And so are other central banks. So what's all this about? Well, the answer is quite simple. And that is, it's not gold going up, it's paper currencies going down. And this is very, very important. It's very important to get this message early, because when the general public finally realizes that it's not the price of eggs or the price of coffee or whatever going up, but actually the purchasing power of their currency going down, then the currency is doomed. And when the general public wakes up to it, I can tell you, the dollar, sterling, euro, yen will all be a lot lower. Now, I put it that way rather than saying gold is going to be a lot higher, because if you think as an investor, you look at gold and you think gold's gone up. As we talk, I don't know what it'll be when this is released, but as we talk, it's had a good day. I see it's up $18. It's currently trading at 2,712. Challenging the levels we saw, sort of 4 weeks ago. If it breaks that, then it's going to go and hit new highs and so on. But do we really want to pay this much for gold? Perhaps we should hang on and wait for a decent shakeout. It's gone too far. But the point they miss is it's not gold going up. It's the currencies going down. Now, obviously, nothing goes down in a straight line or in an even tempo. But I think if you understand that, then you understand that really what your strategy should be is not trading it, but actually accumulating it, and accumulating the physical, not paper. Now, this is a very, very important point. And of course, the whole of the investment industry has a difficulty here because gold is not a regulated investment. So how do you get it past your compliance officer? Well, the answer is you go out and buy ETFs. But your problem with the ETF is you don't own the gold. And worse than that, not only do you not own the gold, you don't actually own the shares in the ETFs unless you have specifically decided to take delivery of certificates. Now, this is a very important point because the owner of, or if you like, the owner of the certificates, in effect, is, the clearinghouse, the intermediary, the big boys in the middle, basically, who guarantee settlement, Euroclear, whatever. And why have they got it? Well, I mean, the answer is quite simple. You've got a huge, great derivative mountain, which is absolutely enormous. And the fear is that at some stage we get a crisis and that could be jeopardized. So what they want is they want your stock to have as collateral to deliver in order to ensure that that whole mountain of deliveries of derivatives doesn't collapse. So, ETFs don't get you out of it. The answer basically, I'm afraid, is you've got to accumulate coin and bars, both gold and silver. Silver I regard as gold on steroids because, I mean, the gold-silver ratio is just crazy. I mean, at 85 or something as we speak. This is nonsensical. I mean, I don't see it going back down to the sort of 15, 16, if you like, when when silver was treated or valued as money. I don't think we're going to get there. But these levels on the ratio are just absolutely crazy. And as gold goes up, silver will go up twice as fast to bring that ratio down to something which is, if you like, more sensible. So I think, 2024 was interesting. 2025 is going to get even more interesting, I think. And I would see these currencies, the fiat currencies, going down in 2025, at least as much as they've gone down in terms of their purchasing power, measured against real money, which is gold. And there are other problems in the background. And I think one thing that could really drive this very, very hard is the debt mountains that governments have. If you look at the G7, there's only one of the G7 which doesn't have a debt to GDP ratio of around about 100% or more, and that's Germany. And they've got their own set of problems. And the theme that I've really been trying to get people to understand is the dangers of this.
In today's episode, we delve into the East's aggressive gold accumulation and the West's diminishing reserves with insights from financial expert Alasdair Macleod. The flow of gold from Western vaults, including the New York Fed, to countries like China, India, and Russia is accelerating as these nations prioritize gold as a hedge against Western economic instability. In stark contrast, the West continues to downplay gold's importance, a decision Alasdair warns could have serious consequences for global financial dominance. Concerns over missing gold in Western reserves add to the drama. Alasdair highlights Germany's struggles to repatriate its gold from the New York Fed as evidence of mistrust. Meanwhile, record-breaking physical deliveries from COMEX vaults point to mounting pressure on the West's ability to maintain liquidity in precious metals markets. These extraordinary flows, according to Alasdair, may signal the early stages of a crisis. China's strategic approach stands out, with Alasdair estimating their gold holdings may have quietly surpassed 20,000 tons by the early 2000s. In addition, Chinese citizens, encouraged by government policies, have accumulated another 26,000 tons. This systematic acquisition reflects not only the state's vision but also a cultural understanding of gold as the ultimate store of value, something the West has seemingly forgotten. As the West deepens its reliance on fiat currencies, the East's focus on tangible wealth is reshaping the balance of global economic power. Alasdair's sobering analysis suggests that gold's role as real money may...
We have a new president in America, starting January sometime, mid-January. And he's made it quite clear, and his nominated Treasury Secretary has also made it quite clear that the strategy basically is to try and cut income taxes, corporation taxes, and make up the shortfall through tariffs, through trade tariffs. Now, this to me is ringing huge alarm bells because the comparison, I think, has got to be with the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act of 1930. But it's worse than that. I mean, it's, the whole thing is a bit piecemeal. The idea that the president is actually going to set the tariffs rather than Congress setting the tariffs, if you like. But this time round, of course, we're moving from a point where everything has been internationalized. You've got supply chains going everywhere. I mean, look at Microsoft. When you have your iPad or whatever, I mean, the design is done in California. Fine. And the packaging is done in California, perhaps, or it's designed in California. But all the rest is done in Asia. This is going to be incredibly disruptive. And there are so many aspects of this that what it'll do is when you start pushing up tariffs, Trump said he's going to put 100% tariffs on BRICS members, if they start talking about a new currency replacing the dollar. I mean, we've got to treat that as a bit of a joke. But you can see that what would happen is that those countries under that policy would merely reply with their own tariffs against America. And who would really suffer? Well, I mean, the answer is, and this was the lesson of Smoot-Hawley, that global economy suffers. And in this case, we're particularly talking about the Western alliance, if you like, America, Europe, UK, Japan, Australia, God bless them, where I've just come back from. This is a very serious thing. So what does that do to the budget deficit in America? Well, the answer is it drives it up. So instead of having a deficit of 2 trillion under these policies, you're going to have a shortfall of taxes because you've got a slump. I mean, I'm going to mince no words on this. There's going to be a slump if that happens. And at the same time, of course, all the welfare obligations are far greater than anything we've had in the past. So that deficit, I mean, I think it's looking like 3 trillion bid, if I can use dealers' terminology. That is destructive of the dollar, particularly when no foreigners are really all that interested in buying new debt, and certainly not at these levels. So that drives up interest rates. So you drive up interest rates while the economy is tanking with all that debt to GDP. I mean, it's a disaster, a complete disaster. And there is another point, Andy, which about bubbles. I mean, the thing about a bubble is that very few people actually understand they're in a bubble. We are in a bubble. I mean, this has been a rolling bubble. The joke has been we kick the can down the road. They've been doing that since the 1980s. So each bubble feeds into the next one and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And of course, that's what the symptom of all this debt is. And consequently, we're sitting here on the biggest bubble, credit bubble, in history. And it's going to burst. And it's going to burst with higher interest rates when the whole thing starts toppling down. That is what we're going to see in 2025. And the Fed is going to be powerless in this. I mean, the Fed's response every time has been to lower interest rates when things start looking like they're falling apart, like the great financial crisis back in 2008-9. Like following the dot-com crisis, when Greenspan reduced interest rates, I think he reduced the Fed funds down to about 1% or whatever. We've had a number of mini crises since, but, basically zero interest rates, that's as low as it can go. It can't go any lower than that. And so how are they going to deal with this bubble bursting? Well, the answer is that it's going to be very, very messy, particularly when all the central banks are in negative equity. I mean, with the honourable exception of the Bank of England, because they push the cost onto the Treasury. But they really are in negative equity. And they are meant to be the lenders of last resort. They are meant to be the institutions who will rescue a failing commercial banking system. And they're all bust themselves. I mean, where this translates quite...
Don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps out the channel. And if you want to stay updated with more content like this, be sure to subscribe and click the bell icon so you never miss a video.